Have you ever seen a house on market and you know it's overpriced? They're at ARV and your cash offers them like half of what they're asking. And you thought to yourself, I don't know if they're going to take me or if I should even get the offer, or maybe they're going to call me a lowballer. Well, if that's you, if you thought that way or you think that way, then I'm going to show you exactly how to do a couple things different to be able to stop getting ignored, ghosted, and be labeled as that lowballer, and how to add thousands more dollars to your revenue every single month. And if you're not closing the deals you want, you're not getting the contracts you want, it's probably not because you have low offers. It's probably because you lack a communication skill that you need to gain in order to get around those objections. Now, when you're working with agents, it's a little bit different than working with sellers. When it comes to working direct to seller, you need to be really good, like, sharpshooter, good at sales, and be watching Andy Elliott, all these guys. You need to get your scripts down right. But when you're working with agents, it's a little bit different. They should be in the sales position because you should be the buyer and the client. They're the one selling something. You're trying to buy something. Now, when you're working direct to seller, most of the time they didn't even think about selling, or you're just trying to catch somebody at the right moment in distress and get them to think, maybe that's a good option for me. And then you're trying to persuade them into why you'd be a good fit if they were to sell. When it comes with agents, they're working with somebody that has their hand up and says, look, I want to get rid of my house. Sell it for me. Now, when you're working with agents and they're in that sales position, you should be that client. And if you're new to this channel, you've never seen me before, I've closed over $20 million in deals in my first 3.5 years with no license, $0 in marketing, and 100% profit. I've generated almost $750,000 in my first 3 years. We're now pushing into year 4, and we already have a deal closing today. Now, my entire business model over this almost 4 years has been run completely by working and making relationships with agents. And everything I'm about to show you is from real on-market deals. I'm going to give you real examples, real addresses, so you can go back and proof check me if you want to. I don't cold call. I don't chase sellers. I don't get hung up 100 times a day. I don't get cussed out. I don't do none of that stuff that most of these people teach, most people do. I work on market deals by communicating better and capitalizing on other wholesalers and investors' mistakes. Because look, a professional investor, they don't send blind offers. They always present logic. An agent doesn't refuse to accept a low offer. They refuse and reject offers they can't understand or explain to their sellers. And one of the biggest ways a wholesale investor loses credibility is by throwing spaghetti at the wall, just hoping if they send enough volume, they're going to get enough deals with no real analysis. And then what happens is the agent gets no explanation or anything, and all they do is get frustrated. And when you do that, all you're doing is putting that agent in defense mode. So the agent doesn't even evaluate your offer, and they act like they didn't even get it to save the seller from some type of emotional breakdown. Because once emotion enters into that conversation, your number that you gave no longer matters. The only guarantee you're making with that strategy is a bunch of resistance. Now, on the other hand, one thing that holds a lot of people up and is killing their success is the fear of burning a relationship. And they think they have to have everything right because they know this agent, or they think they know the agent and they think they're friends, or whatever it is. Maybe you already do know the agent, but you've never done a deal before. All you have to do is pick up the phone and have the conversation. If the agent, listed the house too high or even at ARV, the conversation has to be, surrounded with strategic curiosity. Let them know that you ran numbers multiple times and you're a little confused. You can't just justify the asking price based on the data that's there. Ask them to provide professional context around their logic before you explain yours. And then tell them based on the specific comps that you see, give them addresses, tell them look at it, see if they agree with you. Tell them you cannot justify an ARV higher than X amount. Look, I have to account for rehab, closing cost, holding cost, potential resale risk, and that puts me significantly lower than their asking price, but I'm willing to be a little bit more aggressive with my terms. I might do a short inspection of 2 to 3 days because I know if I'm confident in my number, if I give them, it's going to sell because I know if I get it here, I'm going to make X amount of dollars. I already know this is already worked in. So you got to be more aggressive, get them more higher EMD instead of doing $1,000. Maybe I go $5,000 on my EMD. And I usually have in Florida, I don't know what state you're in, but most states you have a couple days, of grace period to submit your earnest deposit. And if your inspection period is 3 days, and Florida by state law gives me 3 days, then I don't have to put up any EMD while I market that property. And then I have my buyer come in, deposit their EMD, and let it count towards mine. That's how you end up doing a deal with none of your own money. And that single conversation could protect your reputation and give you credibility with the agent. Even if they still don't like your offer, they're going to remember you and how you got to it because you explained it to them, you ran comps by them, you talked about it, you got them thinking about it. It doesn't even matter, if they don't like it or don't take your offer, at least you planted the seed. I can't tell you about how many deals I've closed just like this. The agent said no the first time around. They get jerked around by somebody else, a bad wholesaler, locked it up near asking price, come for a massive price reduction and ruin their credibility. And that agent turns around and calling me and says, hey, are you still interested? Right? Because their job is to get the most for their client. But sometimes doing that gives them a lot of lost time, frustration, dealing with people that are messing around, pulling their legs. And they honestly just can't commit at a high number. And they give these feel-good offers that make the seller and the agent feel good, but then they don't feel good when they pull out from underneath them and can't close. Now, on the other side of this, if you don't know the agent and you just met them for the very first time, do not, and I repeat, do not try to convince them or persuade them that they need to take your offer. Always let them be on the educator side, even if you already know the answer. Because if there's one thing about humans is that we like to talk about what we know or what we think we know. And this works extremely well if you're not licensed because they already feel superior in the conversation. Instead of telling them that, you see this and they need to see this and they need to prove this, ask them to show you what they see. Tell them you're the professional, so you would like to get their perspective on it. And ask them, these kind of questions. Ask, what renovated comps do they see? What do they think the resale value is going to see? If you did it right completely, do you think you'll be able to get top dollar for it? Do you think the market's going to give you more of this amount? What do you think the house is going to need to have inside of it to have a higher resale value? Can I get away from mica here? Well, I need to have granite. What kind of finishes do I need to do? And let them know, I saw XYZ. Would you count this comp in your analysis? I don't want to miss anything. So can I give you, that good done, good to go offer? I don't want to miss it. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to give you a bad comp. I want to make sure that my offer is ready to go. Now, if you do all of that, what happens is you're getting that agent to start defending what they helped you create. So if they told you that if the highest comp is 350 and they told you you're going to do some pretty good finishes, but then they're asking 300,000, then you can get them to turn around and think about, oh wait, that renovation might be 50 grand or more, and then they're going to have to close on the house. Oh, yeah, just give me your offer. I'll see what the seller wants. And they start turning around, they start defending what they helped you create. You turn that agent in from being a gatekeeper into a collaborator, because if that agent's on your side, they're going to tell the seller, you should take this offer. If you do it the other way and you just beat them in the forehead, they're going to tell the seller, this guy, you don't want to buy from him. He's going to mess around. He's not going to close. Even if you are going to close, they're still not going to take you because they don't like you. People do business who they like, know, or trust. So you got to get them to like you and to trust you based on your conversation. Now, I want to break this down and show you how it plays out in real life. I would screen share with you and I'd pull this address, but for whatever reason, YouTube takes it down and says it's private, even though it's public information. So I'll give you the address. You can look it up for yourself, to fact check me. But it's the address I'm about to talk about is 165 Sherry Drive, Atlantic Beach, Florida. It's just outside of Jacksonville. This agent had this listed for quite a while, and it was really close to ARV at the time. At the time, ARV was near $1 million, but we are in a declining market. This is back in 2024. They were listed at 975. As is, it needed everything from the roof to the electrical to the cosmetics. Someone else, another wholesaler, I don't know who it is, I just know where their contract is, the agent told me later, June 14th, you can look it up. They were contracted, it went under pending at 975, but they were really in a contract 900,000. I called on to see what they were set to close. Agent said they're doing inspections and to call them back in about 2 weeks. Now, when he said 2 weeks, I immediately knew that was a wholesaler. No buyer takes 2 weeks. In fact, my buyers do it same day, write the contract, send an EMD, go close. Right? They don't mess around. They don't need 2 weeks of time. I knew they were probably going to end up canceling that because at 900,000, there was no way that worked. Now, I did exactly what the agent told me. I followed up in 2 weeks. I found out, what that original contract I asked for was 900 grand. He asked to come down to near 700,000, which still was too high. And I had an offer of 550,000. Now, mind you, it's on market at 975. I offered 550. That's a massive difference in price. And of course, what did the agent do? Declined the offer. I explained everything to him just like I just told you guys to a second ago. And because I did that, he was willing to just share it with the seller. Right? Nothing in writing. He just said, I'm going to share it with him because he was just tired of dealing with this house, tired of dealing with these other wholesalers. And a few days later, I got a call. He said, the seller will take your offer, but I need to be more around 570. I countered back and I said, look, I'll cover closing costs. I'll even offer you 3.5% commission, but I have to be at 550. Now, he took it. He was okay with it. And I was going to take that cut out of my fee because I knew that it was going to sell fast. So I priced out at $589, $250, and it sold immediately. Now that was a $49,000, $250 spread, a pure profit. I didn't have to double close. None of it was, I didn't put any of my EMD. I didn't use any of my own money to buy it. And of course, I took the hit on the commission on my fee, so I had to pass on my buyer. And because I was able to do that, we were able to close very fast, and I still made 20 grand. Now that entire deal took about 3 phone calls, roughly 6 hours of work. So I mean, think about it, that's like $4,000 an hour if I break it down into an hourly wage. No job is going to pay you that, right? And I didn't rush this deal. I didn't guess on the deal. It only worked because I had 4 specific reasons on why, I could get to this number. I respected, the reality of the situation. I knew what was happening. I communicated before I was even making the actual offer. We had that rapport built, and I positioned with clarity instead of false hope by saying I'll do 900 and then come down 300 grand off of the price. I said no. I'm sorry that happened to you, but I can be at this number and I'm confident in this number. But you have to align with incentives also. I gave them the 3.5% commission. Now I don't do that on every deal, but I had enough room on here. And that's how you make low offers work without burning a relationship. And I built something for you guys if you want it, the entire process laid out step to step. I got an ebook for you. I break it down from acquisitions, dispositions, how to vet any properties, how to talk to agents, and how I do my math to submit high quality offers. When you get the ebook, it also is going to come with $6,000 in bonuses, including a deal calculator for you with all kind of renovation stuff already built into it, market research framework you can fill out, and even access to a video masterclass, and it's going to be going on for the whole month of January. So as I'm recording, it's the 6th. This probably gets posted on the 7th. So you got 24 days or so to go ahead and get you a copy. But skip the cold calling. This exact process closed me over $20 million real estate deals. Like I said, with no license, without spending $1 in marketing. Just do what's in the book. The link is carlosbowen.com/ebook. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment if you learned something, or if you want to add anything too. I'm always open to learn, and maybe there's something out there you guys do that I don't know of. But otherwise, take care. God bless you. Stay blessed by the best. I'll catch you guys in the next one.